Hey YouTube, I want to do a very short video on a product that I bought. Uh, there's a guy named who calls himself XY Nudo. I can never figure out where people get their YouTube names and their internet names. I mean, just come up with a name, come up with something that makes a little sense. Don't be like, BYC9538. It's not that tough to come up with a YouTube name. Some people come up with something where they put their birth year after it. Why are they doing that? I don't want to know that you were born in 1974. Well, anyway, I don't know what XY Nudo means, but he does a lot of good videos. But the problem is he's a free tool guy, you know, and I think you have to be careful with free tool guys. Anyone who receives free tools, there's a conflict of interest. Maybe you won't always get the best information from them. Now, I don't know if that's what happened this time, or if it's just he gave some information which I think is not completely reliable, but it may be because he just didn't know. So I'll explain. He recommended these things. These are Chinese digital calipers. I've never had digital calipers. First I got the vernier ones because when I first started out fooling with tools, I used to be a physics teaching assistant, and when I first started fooling around with tools, I thought, well, I should get some calipers, and the first thing I thought of was the vernier calipers that I taught students how to use, 10 years earlier. And in that time, dial calipers had become more popular. So I ended up with vernier calipers, and then I got dial calipers, and it took me a long time to think about getting these things because the Japanese ones, the Mitutoyos, and whoever else makes them, that's a real Japanese or Caucasian company, I'll put it that way, seemed like they charged a lot. Well, when I saw these Chinese jobs and I thought about all the really good Chinese dial calipers I had had in the past, frankly, I cannot tell any difference between them and Japanese calipers. They seem to work just fine. I've got a pair from Grizzly and I've got a pair from Mitutoyo that I've used them both a lot, and the Mitutoyos have acted up and the Grizzlies haven't. The other thing about dial calipers most people don't understand is they're not very accurate. People say, oh, mine are accurate to within 1,000. Well, no, they're not. You may think they are, but they're not. The expensive ones aren't accurate. The cheap ones aren't accurate. So I kind of feel like you're wasting your money if you spend more than $30 for dial calipers. But anyway, I thought it'd be neat to get some of these because they're easy to read, and these do a lot of weird things. They will do fractions and millimeters and inches all at the same time, and you can zero them out wherever you are, which could be handy if you're trying to measure the difference between two parts. Well, so these things arrived today, and I was so happy. And I took them out, and I was in my kitchen in my air-conditioned house, and I measured my finger, and I believe it turned out to be 29/64. So that was cool. But then I took it out here in my workshop. Well, I guess you can't really tell, but it's raining. So I came out here to my workshop, and I turned these things on, and they went nuts. And they wouldn't zero out properly. They wouldn't turn on and off. They kept showing random numbers. Even when I put them down, they flashed different numbers. And I came out here, I thought maybe I should make a video about this and let people know so they don't freak out. The instructions say these things don't work if the humidity is over 80%. I thought mine were no good. I thought they were defective. Maybe they are defective, but I can't conclude that right now because the instructions say they don't work when the humidity is over 80%, and it's clearly over 80% now. I wish they were doing the weird things they were doing earlier where the numbers were going up and down, but as you can see, they are reading 1 13/64 inches after being zeroed and closed, and that's not really very close to the actual measurement, which is 0, So they're still acting a little funny. So if you get these things and you start using them on a rainy day the first time you try them out, and they give you some weird readings, wait until it dries up. I guess that's my advice. I don't know. And don't throw out your dial calipers because sooner or later it's going to rain, and you may have some problems. So I hope that's useful to you. Signing out.